'cause we want more of you, Jesus, Jesus. We want more of you, Jesus.
One time I was diagnosed of a terrible fungal infection that ate my head completely. Hair was never supposed to grow on my head, as you see today. Never. It literally ate I was a young boy. Let me show you the process of great men. I was in secondary school then, and because of my situation, the students complained that I was irritating them, and they stopped me from going to the dining hall. They banned me completely. So every time others were going to go and eat, they would keep me back. I would have to beg someone and give him my plate and say, please don't forget to get food for me. I didn't know it was a process. Hear me, behind every glory there is a story. Behind every crown there is a prize. That was why it was that experience that started bringing me to know the Holy Spirit, because I didn't have a friend. Who would be my friend? Who wanted trouble on his head? So when I was left alone, I said, since men rejected me, Spirit of the living God, will you also leave me? And it started leading me to pray. I couldn't talk to men. They didn't want to be my friends. But today my intimacy with the Holy Spirit has become a blessing to the nations. The process. Are you getting what I'm teaching you now? Very serious situation there. No matter how early I came for the assembly, I had a permanent seat at the back. Even if I was the first to come, I would have to go and sit down. My mother came to visit me one day and she began to cry and say, God, but what did I do that my son has this condition? How many of you know the iron sponge, ladies? Iron sponge that you scrub the back of pot. They used it on my head to scrub my head. Iron sponge that you used to scrub, they used it on my head. I know what it means like when a crown of thorn was put on his head. I've tasted it. They took me to a lab and cultured my head and took the sample. They created some drugs and some lotions for me. We'll find somewhere to pray, but I want you to get this. The law of process. I didn't know that one day the Lord will mandate me to be ministering to a generation, but it was a price I was going through. God will usually not tell you where you are going. You just continue to move, and sometimes it looks like you are not moving. The students ran away from me. I will never forget the night when there was no water, and I would have to put my head in the rain outside so that it can soak my head, to put a particular soap that I'll rub on my head. Now I stand before the God of heaven and I tell you the truth. The day God will heal me from this, we went for a wedding and I forgot my drugs. If I forgot it for one day, it will show. I knew I was in trouble. I knew I was finished. I slept that night and I had a very strange encounter. I woke up by morning and over 70% of the wounds had disappeared supernaturally. I said, what is this? How do you become a miracle worker and believe in miracles when your life is not a miracle itself? Today, when I want to minister to people, I remember those days and faith rises within me. Yes, God is able. Are we together? Our first crusade, the whole people in the crusade ground were not more than 50. after laboring and fasting, dry fast, all kinds of fast. You prepare and you stand there, and they were old people and they were all sick. You know, these village people around where I come from, they were so sick. So when I said it's time to pray for the sick, I was thinking just 1 or 2 people. I saw, and you know, old people, if they are not healed, they will say they are not healed. It will not be a young man who will say, okay, I will pity you. There were all sorts of people. I said, God, you have to show up here, otherwise know what to do with us. Then I began to see the miracles of God.